What was Skitchin again? Was it a rollerblading game?
It was you were on rollerblades and you hitched onto the back of cars.
That's right.
And you would somehow propel yourself. You would boomerang around cars to go faster. A, physically impossible.
Yep.
And B, like, it just didn't make sense.
Incredibly dangerous when you really think about it.
Oh yeah, you could get nailed by a car, and I mean, it was just so stupid. It was like the most.
I'm going back to the same one to get a heart tank.
Oh, gotcha.
One that you can't reach. You can get it either with the boomerang cutter weapon, or you can get it if you have the Buster and with Chill Penguin's weapon, shotgun ice, because you can make up a sled.
Gotcha.
But I mean, the soundtrack the music to Skitchin was just.
It was bad. Yeah.
It was as 90s as it fucking gets, man. It was bad.
But that's why the soundtrack was the way it was, because it's Skitchin, man.
It was, man. They really tried to make it a thing.
It ain't bitchin', it's Skitchin'.
It was not good. But yeah, I mean, see, I didn't like Super Castlevania 4. I thought the game looked ugly. That's why I thought Bloodlines looked better, because it recaptured and improved upon like the looks of the NES ones.
I don't see it in that. I don't agree with, and I think that's one that we've always just kind of agreed to disagree with. Is the soundtrack for Super Castlevania 4 fantastic? And actually, Castlevania Dracula. Oops.
Yeah.
That big noggin.
Castlevania Dracula X was a fantastic soundtrack.
That one I'll give you. That one I will give you.
But the look of Super Castlevania 4, I don't think there was anything wrong with it.
It was ugly. The palette was terrible.
Maybe that's what your big gripe is.
He is so big. His sprite was so big in that game.
That's very detailed too.
Yeah, but it was detailed though. What was wrong with it being so big?
It just I hated that game. I mean, I've played it and I've beaten it. I've beaten it many times.
Yes, I have too.
It's the same thing as like my gripes with Link to the Past.
Oh, I love it.
Hated Link to the Past.
I do too, and a little part of me dies every time he says that.
I didn't hate it based on the gameplay. I loved the gameplay. I loved the adventure of it, because it's a Zelda game. Yeah, it's fucking Zelda.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
But the aesthetic was terrible, which is ironic to me because I loved Link Between Worlds.
Which is weird, because Link Between Worlds is the direct sequel to Link to the Past.
But somehow the look of it felt better than
that was lucky.
Than Link to the Past did.
So it just pushed me through.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just
okay.
It was. I know it's weird.
I guess to each his own.
Yeah.
I mean.
No, not to each his own. It's your job to convince me otherwise.
It's his job.
Yes!
I didn't realize it was my job.
I mean, you're not paid for it, so I mean, it's technically more of a hobby. But I don't know, man. I know it's. Castlevania Dracula X, I will give more props than fucking Super Castlevania 4.
Well, and obviously, I mean, it came out later, so I mean, they were. Super Castlevania 4 was almost like one of the launch titles of the Super Nintendo, so I mean, it came out like very early on, like 1991, 92. So I mean, it was very early on, so I think they were still trying to find their footing in the 16-bit world. And with Castlevania Dracula X, that came out in 1995, so obviously they had a bunch of time to kind of understand what they were working with and how to maximize the graphics, the sound, all that stuff. It's funny because a lot of the enemy designs in Castlevania Dracula X showed up again in Symphony of the Night.
Like
a lot of them.
Almost verbatim.
Yeah, a lot of them.
It was creepy.
Did. Yep.
God, what a great game that was too.
But I don't think that Super Castlevania 4 was. I don't think that was bad in the least. I think they did a fantastic job. I think it played a lot like Castlevania 1 and Castlevania 3, and it was just kind of it had a great look to it. Colors were a little bit dark. Maybe the palette overall was a little bit dark. It had a lot of exactly. It was intentional. It had a lot of blues, a lot of greens, a lot of like blacks and grays and stuff. But no, I would never say that it was a bad game or that they did a bad job on it.
I didn't say they did a bad job.
Well,
I just think
you're practically
bottom of the barrel. I mean, it's. I'm trying to think of a bad Castlevania game, actually. What's the 64 one?
Castlevania 64.
But there were two on the 64.
Legacy of Darkness was the second one.
That one was weird.
Yeah, but it was not as bad, though.
It was not as bad, you're right. But I I remember playing Castlevania 64 at Best Buy when they used to have the displays.
I remember that.
Oh man, I was like, this game is shit. Oh man.
Yeah.
Actually, I remember 3 or 4 distinct games I played at the Best Buys. Battle Arena Toshinden
Oh yeah.
was there for a while.
1996. Yeah.
One of the Wario games.
Maybe actually. Wario's Woods.
It was on the Game Boy.
Wario Land.
Or
It might have been Wario Land.
Yeah, maybe Wario Land.
Because I remember thinking, oh, this is like Mario. This is
Yeah.
weird. He's farting and weird things are happening.
Or else it could have been Super Mario Land 3 Wario Land.
Yeah.
it could have been.
Because I think he was the main character in that one.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just.
That'll start with Wario Land.
It
Yeah.
was a very strange game that I didn't quite understand, so I didn't really get too much into it. What was that, 2? What was another one? Super Metroid. I think they had on display.
Metroid, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Jumping Flash? No, Tail Concerto.
Tail
Was it
Concerto.
Tail Concerto
What
for
was
the
that?
PS1.
Oh, for the PS1.
It was kind of around the same time as Battle Arena Toshinden.
Gotcha.
And I remember thinking, this was the future of games. Like, this looks like shit.
Yeah. Well.
Weirdly mind-blowing, but at the same time, I was
It
like,
is-
this is some ugly ass stuff.
It is funny because I mean you take a look at games like back then that were groundbreaking,
Yeah.
Mhm.
like 007, like GoldenEye
Yeah.
for N64, and you're like, oh my god, this was crazy. This is
was
the
important.
future of video games.
It was important.
It's revolutionary. Oh no, and I'm not taking that away from it. But when you look at the graphics nowadays, you're like,
Yeah.
how did people even play this game? It's
Yeah,
you can't even tell what's on the screen.
I do have to say that I feel that the late 2D games have aged much better than
Oh,
the
very much so. Than
early
the
3D
polygons.
games.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
Like if I
Very
look at
much
Final
so.
Fantasy 3 or 6 on the Super NES, I feel like it looks beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And then I look at 7 in its original form, I feel like it's kind of hard to look at in a lot of spots.
Yeah.
You're like, come on, man, they could have done better.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, I really looking at 2D games. You see also like in the PlayStation when they had games like Mega Man X4, Mega Man 8, and Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Like
Mhm.
those games look beautiful.
Yes, they do, and they still hold up today. Yep.
That's true.
Yeah,
I was
very
thinking
much
about
so.
that the other day, actually, about how ugly Final Fantasy VII is. And I keep
It's
having to
very chunky.
remember
Yeah.
FF7 was the first 3D Final Fantasy game.
It was.
It was their first foray
It
into
was.
a 3D world, and to
And-
be honest, they fucking nailed it.
And that truly was a revolutionary game.
Oh,
like
absolutely.
that did revolutionize just RPGs just in general.
I would say so.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of pivotal games of that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, caliber.
Yeah.
I think who am I thinking of where you can cut stuff off of people? Oh, maybe that was Octopus.
For Flame Mammoth, if you hit him with a boomerang cutter, it actually cuts his trunk off.
That's
Oh.
That's
So they have some cool things to influence other stages. So,
Yeah, that's
cool.
for example, if you go to Flame Mammoth stage first, you can see like there's like lava running everywhere and stuff. If you beat Chill Penguin first and then go to his stage, it's actually frozen over.
Oh, nice.
Also,
That's cool.
Spark Mandrel's stage has like a bunch of implements everywhere and a bunch of like currents running. If you beat Storm Eagle stage first and then go there, you can see that a plane crashed in there. Like in Storm Eagle's fortress crashes into Spark Mandrel's stage.
Huh.
Oh,
So you see
wow.
broken parts everywhere.
Oh, I didn't know
So
that.
it's pretty cool. The stages actually influence each other.
That's really cool how
I never noticed that before.
That's really cool how they did that because it almost adds a whole new level of replayability to Mega Man where you never really felt that need to have to. If you ever played like the early Mega Man games for the Nintendo, like 2
Usually
and
pick
3,
the order where
they're
it's
great.
lost
You
power.
pick the order, but then it's like after you beat it, yeah, sure, you'll go back to it here and there, but you don't really feel a need to go back to it. You want to play it again.
Well,
With
yeah.
these, it's like you actually had a reason to go back to it
Mm-hmm.
because there was so much more that you had
Yeah.
that you could see.
I felt like in the original games that if you play different orders, usually it was to challenge yourself or to see things there.
And yeah.
But usually found what order works best as far as the powers go. In the X series, what I liked is it sort of challenged your idea of what to do because some levels have different power-ups that you want to find,
Mhm.
but you need certain abilities to get those power-ups. So you can revisit the stage or you can try to get one first when you plan it. And it gets more stressful in X2 onward because X2 has the X Hunters that have Zero's parts, and they show up randomly. So you can either try to chase them down and get Zero's parts and try to rescue him, but that might be a level you're not really prepared for yet. So you have to sort of think about, oh, I'm going to go after them and try to fight them, or do I
Oh,
want to do the
wow.
boss power, or do I want this power up?
Yeah.
And X3 had Bit and Bite also is the same
Oh,
way
that's
too.
cool.
So, oh yeah, I love that scene.
Yeah, that was a cool thing.
Yeah.
Boy, these games really had a lot more to them than I remembered.
They're definitely. I mean, graphics wise, and just music, and it's.
I think X is always one of the games when, like the playground people said, oh, SNES versus Genesis, this is always the one I would go to. I'm like, well, does Genesis have Mega Man X? And they say, well, no. And I'm like, all right, there you go. I want SNES.
I win.
So, like, and a lot of people did it, where it's like Mega Man was a big bargain chip, I think, for Nintendo fans.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
People were like, oh, like, what do you have this? And I think, Nintendo fans had the Mega Man series.
Mm-hmm.
So, for a lot of times, they would be able to use that. And I feel like, yeah, for X, like, it's one I'm like, all right, I absolutely adore this game. I love the way it looks, I love the way it controls.
Mm-hmm.
And there are fun action games on Genesis, like I love Gunstar Heroes. But I just like nothing for me comes to the bliss of playing Mega Man X.
Mm-hmm. I get that. Because there's really nothing like this on Genesis.
No,
I can't really think of an equivalent.
The closest thing would be Gunstar Heroes, but that was even more of a Contra. That was more of a Contra clone. In fact, they designed that game specifically to be Sega's answer to Contra. They didn't really do anything.
Well, there was Contra Hardcore also on Genesis,
that's true.
I like the game. I feel like it's not really a Contra, but I really like it still. But I preferred Alien Wars.
Alien Wars for the Game Boy?
Get off this couch.
No, on SNES.
Are you crazy?
Alien Wars. Oh, jeez.
That
game's a nightmare.
You're a goddamn sadist, Tim.
Oh, God.
We tried playing it. We don't have the footage, I don't think, anymore.
I will say this. It is a fun game. It can be very fun.
By yourself.
It can be fun, but it's so freaking hard.
Yeah.
Oh.
The top-down segments were ridiculous in Alien Wars.
Those are the other ones I'm not really nuts about, but I really love the other studios for it. I like the music to it. I really liked Shattered Soldier on PS2. There were a couple there. There was Legacy of War on PS1, which is a 3D game, and I hated it.
It wasn't the greatest.
But then on the PS2, there was Neo Contra, which was a 3D one, which I wasn't super nuts about, and there was Shattered Soldier, which I think is an amazing game, but it's extremely hard, and it's almost like a puzzle game, where it's like you have to find the right way to solve something.
Oh, seriously? For a Contra game, that's weird.
Like every encounter, it's almost like a boss rush where everything's like in a row, and you have to have a very precise strategy to get past things. I think it's a Stop Skeletons from Fighting did a really good video on Shattered Soldier.
Oh, interesting.
And
okay.
Yeah, it's one I really like. It's really tough. The music's fantastic in it. That's one I recommend. I think there was Contra 4 also on the DS.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember them releasing that on the DS.
Oh man, I didn't know that.
Almost a complete armor set. I really love X's design for it's referred to as full armor and light armor. The Canon 4, but I really love the way it looks.
What was the suit in X4 when you could get like that black or
it's the ultimate armor.
There we go.
So you normally have the fourth armor. I think it's also called Force armor, but fourth is a standard set. You can either get stock or plasma as your upgrade.
Yeah.
And if you use a cheat code, which is for X's thing, is circle twice, left 6 times, L1 R2 start. You can get the ultimate armor. Oh, see, there's like ice on the stage. I did Chill Penguin first. Also down there, it's frozen over. Normally that would be a hazard down there.
Oh, but now it's not. You can walk on it, huh?
So yeah, this is also another reason why it's like, hey, if you beat this guy first and then go here, it might make this easier.
Almost gives you a small advantage in later stages.
Yeah.
Also, you actually can go up in those things and go up in the ceiling.
Oh,
How much of that idea did they implement in later ones? Because I can't really recall anything like that in 4.
Yeah, they didn't really do that as much.
They kind of abandoned that idea later.
There we go, got that. So the Buster part actually is another one that you can't miss. If you don't get it here, you actually get it in the story.
That's right, I remember
So that's one that's pretty interesting too. This is also one where you can't miss these upgrades. But it does serve as a pretty big like plot point. So sometimes I like to not get it here to get it
later in the game.
Because I feel like it's really meaningful. But I do like just seeing this here and just finding it. And this is a really cool, like the wave attack here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So
that's awesome.
If you get the there's a Nendoroid figure for X for his full armor, for the light armor, and it has like that wave buster.
Oh, that's cool.
Thing for it. And I really like it. I just got that one along with the True Force Collectibles light armor X, which is they refer to as X Boost because they have a sort of like they have a slightly different interpretation of it, so it's a little different idea. But yeah, I really love X's armors. I love they're really cool ideas, and I love that they introduce new power-ups. And it adds a fun layer to the game if you want to use them or not use them. There's like X2 to get a Buster, upgrade for that. Your helmet helps you find like hidden items, and that the armor gives you the Giga Crush ability, which is like an all-screen attack, and the dash boots let you do the mid-air dash next to. And X3 has its own it's the hyper max armor in that one. So yeah, I love those.